everyone. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Connor. I'm a programming librarian from the Saskatoon Public Library. I would just like to begin by acknowledging that we are gathered on Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis. And on behalf of SPL, I pay respect to the Indigenous ancestors of this place and affirm our collective commitment to reconciliation. I would also like to invite everyone to an upcoming program that we have hosted here tomorrow at the same time. We're hosting Michelle Good, who's the author of the 2023 One Book, One Province title, Five Little Indians, and she will be discussing her book with special guests Kevin Wasaquate and Lisa Bird Wilson. Tonight we have Janet Aird and Derek Adam with us to talk about Regina's Waste Plan. I just want to make a note that we're going to be doing a Kahoot later, so if you have a cell phone with you, you can connect to our internet by selecting SPL-guest, and then it will prompt you with a little yes, I continue, if you want to take part in the Kahoot. I invite Carol Chubb from the Saskatchewan Environmental Society to introduce Janet and Derek. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sustainability Speaker Series. Before I introduce our speakers, I want to say a few words about Saskatchewan Environmental Society. So the Saskatchewan Environmental Society has been operating since 1970s, advocating for nature protection and conservation, doing environmental policy reviews, combating climate change, and just generally helping people to live sustainable lives. If you aren't already a member, we encourage you to join. You can find out more about our diverse projects, activities, and how to get involved on our website at www.environmentalsociety.ca. If you would like to receive notifications about events in our series, you can send an email to Saskatchewan Environmental Society indicating that you would like to be notified about Sustainability Speaker Series. And the address is info@environmentalsociety.ca. So our speakers tonight are Janet Aird and Derek Adams. So Janet has a Bachelor of Administration from the University of Regina, majoring in marketing. Over years, Janet worked for some really interesting companies, including Clorox Company of Canada, Bombardier, Farm Credit Canada, to name a few. At the City of Regina, Janet worked for 7 years in the financial department before moving to Waste Management Department in 2015. Since then, her team has worked tirelessly implementing public outreach and engagement programs, piloting a curbside residential green card program, and developing city's green routing, which is a multi-stream waste sorting program. Derek Adam has an undergraduate degree in environmental studies from Brock University in Ontario and master's degree in environmental studies and sustainability from Western University, also in Ontario. Derek had a couple interesting internships before joining the City of Regina, worked for the winery, where he has and at the City of Regina, he has been working for 7 years, currently occupying the position of a specialist in waste management, waste minimization. As part of this job, he supervises multiple waste diversion contracts, including recycling, organics, household hazardous waste, as well as provincial stewardship agreements for the City of Regina. The topic of the presentation today is Regina's Waste Plan. And without further ado, please join me in welcoming our speakers. They came all the way from Regina just to give this presentation. to us.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Saskatchewan Environmental Society for having us here today. Derek and I will be doing the presentation on Regina's Waste Management Plan. The picture you see here today on the screen is a picture of the sun setting over Regina's landfill. And the goal of Waste Plan Regina is to divert material and extend the life of the landfill so that we don't have to build another one. So as we move closer to a circular society without waste, the less need there will be for a new landfill, and that's our goal. Today, we are going to be discussing Regina's Waste Plan, which is known as Waste Plan Regina. And we're going to talk about the actions we've taken based on the plan to date, the results as compared to the targets that were set, and then our future and upcoming plans. So in the decade that preceded Waste Plan Regina development, Regina had unprecedented population growth, which was causing higher waste generation rates overall. And so in 2009, the city wanted to develop a new waste plan for Regina that addressed the growing waste demands. The goal was to develop a waste plan that ensured the public health and safety while protecting the environment. We wanted to move away from a disposal society, and we wanted to promote the waste hierarchy, which focuses on reduction, reuse, over disposal. And we considered looking at the residential, the industrial, commercial, and institutional, and construction and demolition sectors. To develop the plan, we reviewed our current waste management practices in some detail. We investigated alternatives and best practices from other municipalities, and we conducted stakeholder engagement. And from those actions, we came up with a plan that actually developed 3 levels of service for the residential area and 3 levels of service for the IC&I and the C&D. So in the residential service options, there was a current plus, an enhanced, and a comprehensive. And on the screen in front of you, it's the enhanced service level that we're showing there. It's a little bit more detail. It's not to have you go through all the details to show you all the actions that were intended, and we're going to go through some of them in more detail in a little bit. But the enhanced service level had a diversion target set of 30 to 40%. But council had set a diversion target of 65%, which meant that we had to go beyond the enhanced level of service and into the comprehensive level to actually achieve that 65% diversion target. And so on the screen, the items in green are the things that we've either implemented or in the process of implementing. And the items that are highlighted in orange are the things that we needed to do from the comprehensive service level to get us closer to reaching that 65% diversion target. So for instance, one of the enhanced service level goals was to implement a curbside seasonal leaf and yard and Christmas tree collection. And to get the comprehensive level required the orange to move that to a bi-weekly. The city is actually implementing a curbside food and yard-based service, which we will talk about more in detail. For the IC&I and construction and demolition sectors, 2 service options were recommended, the basic or extended, and the extended service levels were the approved, and we'll get into that in a little bit. So just before we get into more detail of what we've done, we are going to do a little Kahoot just to have some fun. So if you have your phones with you, you need to go to kahoot.it. And this pin isn't relevant, there will be a new pin, but you can see just the place you need to go. So it's here, kahoot.it. And I'm just gonna bring up the actual Kahoot. And once you get there, what you will need to do is put in the PIN, which will come up in just a second here, and a nickname for yourself. And it's important that you know your nickname because there's prizes. There's a podium. So the PIN is 6232547, so that's what you put in when you get there. And while you're doing that, I'll give you a few tips. The winners are awarded points based on the correctness of their answer and the speed with which they answer. And the answer key on the screen will have the color and the answer, but on your phone you will only see the color, so you need to pick the associated color. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to log on. If you don't have a phone and want to pair up with somebody to answer, feel free to do that too. Is there anybody waiting to get their name on there? No? Okay, we're good to go. So we'll start the questions. So this is all about Regina waste stats. So true or false, the average Regina resident produces 25% more waste than the average Canadian. So we had 4 answers and they were both with true, so that is true. And there's the scoreboard so far. So SPL Connor is in the lead. Next is true or false. The City of Regina landfill has 28 more years of life left in it. Well, 4 answers. 1 was correct, and that is true. We have 28 years left. I think when I started, we had 26, so we've extended it by 2. Oh, and DCF has taken the lead. This is a slider question, so you have to pick the number. The City of Regina's waste diversion target. Oh, it's gonna go back and forth a bit. So if you guess 65, you're right. This is a topic that you're looking to hear about today, so it's a free-form word answer. Is anybody typing an answer? Nobody knows what they want to learn about. Oh, there they go. Green, transparency, the IC&I program, compost bins, and fun facts. Okay. So here's the podium of winners. So Morgan, if you guys want to stand up, I'll come around and give you prizes while Derek starts his part of the presentation. Thanks. You might have to go.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody else? Who's third?
Number 3. Number 1.
Okay. So who was number 2? Okay.
So looking at residential actions, the city chose to focus on residential diversion actions first, since the city provides residential waste services to over 60,000 homes. Residential waste makes up approximately 30% of all the waste that we send to our landfill. Prior to the implementation of actions outlined in Waste Plan Regina in 2013, the city had the following waste services. Weekly curbside waste collection, big blue bins for the collection of paper and cardboard, and the picture on the right is of a big blue bin. We currently have 9 sites across the city, and they serve as a great place to drop off your excess recyclables. We had tinsel mulch, curbside Christmas tree collection, where trees were turned into mulch and made available to residents, as well as white good collection at the landfill. So, residential recycling. July 1st, 2013, we implemented a single stream curbside recycling service that accepts plastic packaging labeled 1 to 7, glass, aluminum, tin, paper, cardboard, all of those regular items. In 2015, we mandated residential non-designated properties to collect the same recyclables at their buildings. We request that all of these buildings submit a waste plan to verify that they're providing recycling services. In 2019, we partnered with Sarcan to be a collection point for glass. So Saskatoon also has a very similar program here, which has been fantastic. The program's been doing really well. We'll get into some stats a little bit later. And in 2021, we also added in some espresso pods into our curbside program. So if any of you have purchased these single-use coffee pods, Espresso will provide you with a little bag that you can place the pods in, place the bigger bag into a blue cart, and then that is recycled at our recycling center. And then in 2020, we expanded the Big Blue Bin to take all of the same materials as the curbside program. So initially it was just for paper and cardboard, but we have since expanded to all of these same acceptable materials with the exception of glass. So residential organics, since 2011, seasonal Christmas tree depots have been provided by the city, and then in 2013, a leaf and yard depot service started for about 4 to 6 weeks each spring and fall, and ran until the fall of 2018. So we had temporary depots across the city that were in fairly convenient locations for all of the residents. They would just bring all the materials into and we would place them in a 48-yard container, and then our waste hauler was on call just to bring the containers back and forth throughout the weekend. In 2019, leaf and yard waste and Christmas tree collection moved to a permanent site. It opens in April and then lasts until usually early November. We'll pick the dates closer to the season. It operates 7 days a week from 7 a.m. To 7 p.m. And then in 2020, the city piloted a curbside food and yard waste service with 2,800 homes. We tested 3 different cart sizes, so 120 liter, a 240 liter, and a 360 liter cart for this program. The city operated 1 collection vehicle to collect all of the pilot households, with our compost site being at our landfill. So looking at residential household hazardous waste, started in 2013. Started as a biannual event for hazardous waste, bulky waste, white goods, used tires, clothing, and books. The city, in response to the demand, increased the events to more weekends. We also added a spring season in addition to our regular fall season. And then we expanded the weekends from just Saturdays to include Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. The city reduced the items collected by removing white goods, tires, and used clothing and books more recently. And then in November 2022, we are again very excited to announce this. We opened our household hazardous materials depot. So it is currently open Friday and Saturday, 10 to 3. You can bring all of the classic hazardous waste, oil, fertilizers, chemicals, anything of that nature, light bulbs, batteries, all of that stuff. To date, we've been receiving about 30 residents per day. As of end of February, the last stat I had was about 18 tons of waste has been collected so far, and it's been operating very well. So looking at our results to date, after implementing a number of services identified in Waste Plan Regina, you can tell by looking at our chart right here, our diversion rate is fairly static. Even with programming changes, for example, our permanent leaf and yard in 2019 increasing over 2 tons volume. Another example, in 2017, depots were canceled for budgetary reasons. And then the city also trialed bi-weekly garbage collection over the winter that same year, which became a permanent change in 2018. Garbage from single-family residential homes has been declining, with the exception of 2020 and 2021, where it jumped back up during the COVID pandemic. We've also seen tonnages diverted have been declining as well. Some other things I'd like to just point out with this chart right here, the Sarcan Glass program has been increasing year over year, which has been fantastic to see. It's showing that people are excited about diverting their glass at these Sarcan locations, and we will be extending that service as well. Or renewing the service, I should say. So looking at resident participation, in 2016, in a solid waste survey, 91% of respondents agreed that the city has a responsibility to provide waste services that help residents reduce the amount of waste going to landfill, and that they should have convenient options that ensure health and safety and protect the environment. Residents need to participate in the proper use of these programs in order to maximize the environmental benefits. As an example, on this chart here, we need residents to sort the recyclables properly and use the services as intended. So the city gathers information on residential behavior in two ways. So this chart right here is looking at contamination rates. So we find that we determine our contamination in a couple of ways. One of the big ones is our monthly contamination audit, composition audit at the recycling center. So basically what we'll do is over an annual basis, we'll audit the city evenly. We'll take roughly 3 collection vehicles worth of material, and we'll pull a smaller sample from those vehicles to hand sort. And the sorting will separate all of the recyclable items, so paper, cardboard, metals, all of that stuff. And then we'll collect the garbage as well. And we take the weight of that garbage divided by the weight of our sample, gives us our contamination rate. So you can see here, we have some pretty good rates, I would say, over the last couple of years, down under 10% and then just over. So it's been fairly good based on those audits. We also do curbside waste audits. So we'll actually go to the curb and take material directly out of the cart from a pre-selected sample of households. And in 2016, we showed that roughly 10% of what's in a recycling and what's in a blue cart doesn't belong in that within a brown cart or a garbage cart. That particular stream still had 14% of recyclable material in it. Back to Jen.
So as Garrett pointed out, we had some contamination and recycling in the garbage cart that wasn't being recycled properly. So to address the contamination and to encourage proper recycling and to capture those items that were going into the garbage and not the recycling cart, the city started investing in extensive education campaigns and outreach programming. And we started in 2015 with the Recycle the Right Stuff campaign. It was our first campaign since the launch of the recycling program in 2013. And the goal of it was to encourage residents to recycle materials from all aspects of their home, meaning like the bathroom, the laundry room, because a lot of the things we were seeing were coming from the kitchen, and to inform residents of what's not accepted. So you see on the screen is an example of some of the various ads that ran throughout the city. We engaged with over 15,000 people through public education and outreach booths and events during that time period. Then in 2017, we started adding in the promotion of our Waste Wizard tool for residents to search on how to dispose of particular items to aid in increased proper disposal. With a growing number of residents following the City of Regina social media channels, we had 40,000 Facebook and 54,000 Twitter followers. So the city had increased our social media presence. We expanded the use of communication on the social media to promote Waste Wednesdays once a month, so it was tips on how to sort your waste. And then we have weekly unrecyclable items of the week that came from actual contamination audits at our recycling facility. The posts also provided useful diversion tips. It was a cost-effective and engaging way to educate residents about waste. And then in the city, we also produced, to share on social media, an entertaining and educational video series that featured homeowners with key information about the city's waste services and best practices. The videos were a huge success, with each video reaching over 40,000 people. It included Never Forget Your Collection Day, Flatten Your Recyclables, 4 easy steps to using your cart, how to sort your outdoor waste, and John Goes to the Landfill. Then in 2018, we launched a recycling re-education campaign, which was Yes, I Recycle, and it used media influencers to encourage and motivate others to increase their recycling efforts. Recycling polls were continued on through Waste Wednesday, and the unrecyclable or recyclable item of the week posts were also used. Then, in the fall of 2019, we took a more directed education approach, and we moved to doing our Cart Smart program. So when we first launched the Cart Smart, it was manual with staff out checking 2,600 carts. And the goal of the program was to provide direct education to households on proper waste sorting and to recognize those residents that were doing a good job. So they got a good job sticker, the other residents got an oops tag. And we also wanted to collect data on common recycling mistakes. So over the 6-week period that we ran this, they visually audited the carts, and they spoke with over 150 residents about their contacts as they were out in the public. People were asking them questions about what they were doing. And of the good job stickers, they gave out 28% of the house visited got good job stickers, and 72% of the households got oops tags on their first visit. The good news is that on the second visit to the household, 36 of those that received an oops tag the first time had improved by our second visit. And improvement was measured basically as if they had reduced the number of mistakes they were making or had eliminated any of the mistakes that they were making. Then, in 2020, we automated the Cart Smart by trialing a new AI technology with a company called Prairie Robotics. We still provided oops mailers this time. They were tags, they got sent to your house, and it identified the recycling mistakes in your cart specifically. So there's this little box up here, it would be a picture of your cart with your actual mistakes. And by the end of the program, if they didn't receive an oops tag, they got a good job mailer. This automated technology allowed us to visit 11,000 homes with one camera, and it resulted in a 41% improvement rate between the first and second visits.
So what do you mean by camera? Did you have somebody actually open the bin and then like the camera looked at it, or what happened there?
No, the AI technology is a camera on the recycling truck.
Oh, I see.
And as the contents is being dumped into the hopper of the truck, the camera uses AI technology by densities, or I don't know exactly how it works, but it can pick out the things that don't belong there. And it can identify them, and then it has the capability of using the GIS mapping to know what the cart was in front of this house, and it's this house we need to send the mailer to.
Cool.
Yeah, so yeah, it was a good automation, and we got to visit more homes. And then from those programs, we learned kind of our top contaminants, which were plastic bags, stretchy plastics, and styrofoam. And so in the fall of 2020, we decided to develop an educational video on plastics to make the public aware of what plastics and why they're not allowed in the recycling cart. And I'm going to play that video. It's a short one. It's kind of interesting, if it'll work.
Have you ever wondered what types of plastics are recyclable? Well, we're here at the recycling facility to show you a few tips to help make sure your recycling efforts count. Be sure to only put plastic packaging labeled 1 to 7 in your blue recycling cart. Some examples include a plastic yogurt container, a mouthwash bottle, and a plastic clamshell container. Please don't put plastic bags or wrap in the recycling. If the plastic stretches or you can poke your thumb through it, then it's not recyclable. Stretchy plastics get caught around the spinning machinery that sorts the recyclables. When this happens, it can sort the material into the wrong category, and this can lower the quality of the good recyclables. Here's a quick recycling tip. If the plastic bag or wrap makes a crinkly sound, or you can tear it, it should be placed in the garbage. We want you to be proud of the difference you're making with your commitment to recycling. Let's recycle the right stuff. Place your plastic bags or wrap in your brown garbage cart. Visit regina.ca/plastic for more details and tips on recycling plastic.
In addition to the video, we also ran a social media campaign about plastics that included polls and provided sorting tips and directed residents to that regina.ca plastics for more information. Based on contamination audits at the recycling processing facility following that campaign, the unacceptable plastics actually decreased by 7% as a result of the campaign. It's gonna have to finish, okay. In addition to focusing on recycling education, in 2018, the city expanded our messaging to reduction and reuse, with a focus on promoting Waste Reduction Week. So over the years, during Waste Reduction Week, we've promoted various reduction messages, such as reach for reusables, waste less, save more, reduce your food waste, and we've partnered with Saskatchewan Waste Reduction Council to show the movie Wasted, the story of food waste. We've provided online food challenges or contests and sorting quizzes for residents to win prizes. And through the holidays, the city has also added reduction messaging to encourage thinking of reduction. So we ran campaigns, Make Memories, Not Waste, and Green Your Holiday, decorating, gathering, and gifting. And we also created a holiday naughty and nice list of recyclables. And now I'll pass it back to Derek.
Okay, so looking at some other tactics, in 2022, we opened an 800 square foot interactive learning space designed to spark children's interests and capture their imaginations. We had the focus on teaching kids sustainable waste and water practices. So you can see a couple pictures just right here on the right hand side. The room has projectors throughout it, with the walls having standard designs on them. There's touch buttons everywhere. There's some TVs that you can touch and play games and things like that. And it's worked really, really well. The kids love it. And one of the best parts is we can switch from water to waste just with the projectors, and the walls can pretty much stay the same. So it just projects a different set of images, and we can do that at a flip of the switch. So it's been really, really fantastic education opportunity for the kids. Also, council passed a bylaw to ban plastic checkout bags, which came into effect on February 1st, 2022. The intent of the ban was to reduce plastic litter in the community. So since that has happened, our team has done roughly a dozen or so visits to businesses that have been since using plastic bags after that point in time. Most of the time it was simple confusion. People weren't aware. They had heard, oh, this type of bag is okay, that kind of thing. But after talking with all the businesses, they were all more than happy to comply with the bylaw. So we never had any major problems there. Also in 2022, council approved the addition of notice of violation tickets for certain infractions in the waste management bylaw, specifically ones believed to contribute to litter, which are carts that are left out after collection or not secured on property when not out for collection, unbagged garbage, as well as overfilled carts that the lid is not fully closed. The city has issued over 200 tags so far, and of those 200 tags, there have been 2 notice of violation tickets issued. We noticed that in most cases the tags were, residents changed their behavior when they were issued a tag. So reaching 65%. So summer of 2023, the curbside food and yard waste service will go citywide in Regina. We're going to be using 240 liter green carts that accept a scrape the plate program, so all of it can go right in, all of your food scraps, and as well as your yard waste. From April through October, we're going to be having weekly collection, and then for November to March, it will switch back to bi-weekly collection. Garbage cart frequency will be reduced to bi-weekly collection year-round, and a big difference from our pilot program to our citywide program, based on feedback as well as processing capabilities, is that we will be allowing the use of compostable plastic bags. Pilot residents of the 2,800 households that were participating achieved a 51% curbside diversion rate. So taking all of this into account, we are expecting the total diversion rate to increase by 20 to 34%. So looking at the curbside waste user fee, an additional way to incentivize behavior. Behavior change is the introduction of pay-as-you-throw systems. On January 1st, 2024, the city is moving to a user pay system for garbage based on the garbage cart size selected by the resident. The fee for the garbage cart covers the cost of all curbside services. A resident can select a 240 liter or 360 liter brown cart. The 360 liter recycling cart or blue cart will be bi-weekly, and then the 240 liter green cart, again as I mentioned, will be weekly in the spring, summer, fall, and bi-weekly during the winter. Some studies have shown that user pay systems have the potential to increase diversion by about 16%. And you can see the cost of the services here on the screen for either the 240 liter brown or the 360 liter brown. We also have the option to purchase one additional cart of any color. So if you're utilizing one particular stream more than the others, you can have an additional cart, but no more than 4 per property. Back to Jen.
So the last topic is going beyond residential waste and looking at the non-residential sectors. So the city has been focused mainly up until now on residential, but with our residential programming, as outlined in Waste Plan Regina, is coming to an end, we're starting to look more to the other sectors and how to regulate them. The non-residential sectors make up approximately 70% of the waste going to the City of Regina landfill, and that's coming from both the IC&I and C&D sectors. So approximately 66% of what goes to the landfill, so of that 70%, that's both of those IC&I and C&D, 66% of that comes from institutions, commercial businesses, and industrial operations. And of that, our study showed that about 42% of what they generate is divertible, so either recyclable or compostable. And so in 2017, the city took a leadership role by piloting a multi-stream waste system in 12 city-owned and operated facilities. We called that our green routine. And the city wanted to understand diversion from these sectors before setting regulations. The pilot was a success, showing an increase in diversion from 10% because we were just diverting paper and cardboard, and then it went up to 47% in the pilot. So based on those results, the city expanded the pilot to all city-owned and operated facilities in 2011. In 2022, the city did public engagement on waste requirements for the IC&I sector, and a report recommending a mandatory multi-stream waste sorting station in all industrial, commercial, and institutional businesses will be going to council in the second quarter of this year, so in May. And in 2017, we also started implementing the public space recycling program, which is the picture up here, with the grants from Sarcan. And so at the time, it was estimated that about 18% of the deposit refund bottles were not being recycled, and probably from public spaces. So we worked with Sarcan, and Saskatoon had this way before us, but we added bottle baskets to various park or busy streets in Regina. And then in 2018, we added 39 more bottle baskets, and we started to add it to transit routes, like high-use transit routes. And then as part of the green routine, when we were expanding to all city facilities, we used the bottle baskets in parks and other outdoor spaces like multi-use pathways. So we've got some more things to come in the upcoming years. So we're going to update our Waste Plan Regina. So the plan was done in 2009. We're coming to the end, and there's been many regulatory changes. So we're looking to update the plan for the next 15 to 20 year horizon. The waste management landscape has evolved significantly, and we want to take that into account when we look at the actions going over the next 10 to 20 years. And this includes reviewing key metrics such as our diversion target and looking to see if maybe a reduction target or another type of measurement would be needed as well. As you've seen, we've set a diversion target, we've been doing a lot of work, but we've been fairly static. We're going to investigate loyalty programs for residents. So with all key residential diversion services being implemented after 2023, the city is going to explore loyalty programs as a way to recognize and encourage resident participation. This includes promoting friendly neighborhood competitions and encourages community pride. We're going to research the construction and demolition sector waste requirements. The city is going to begin exploring waste management policies for construction and demolition materials from the landfill. This could be mandated recycling for lumber, landfill bans, or surcharges for divertible items. And last but not least, we're going to continue looking to expand diversion opportunities at the landfill, such as problematic items to landfill, such as mattresses, gypsum, and untreated wood. We still have lots of work underway, and this is an exciting time for changes in the waste management industry, and we're happy to be part of them. And we have one final Kahoot for you, which is fun facts. So if you want to get back onto your phones, I will bring up the pin. And there's prizes again. They're the same prizes, so you might get two of the same thing. Is everybody that wants to play in, or is somebody waiting? I think we had 6 players last time, so. We're good? Okay. If you're not playing, you can shout out the answer to somebody else. So the first question is a true or false. A plastic bottle in 2014 was 10 grams lighter than 1985. True or false? So it's false. It was actually 20 grams lighter. That could explain why our recycling tonnages went down so much. So Elaine B is at the top of the scoreboard. This is a word cloud. So what's an interesting fact or takeaway from today? And if you're not on, you can just shout it out. Feel free. Line for variable cart size, what does that mean? Cameras on trucks, lighter plastic, and education. So which item is not commonly searched on our waste wizard? So this is the app that residents going to search. Plastic, one. Plastic is the correct answer, so we got one person with the right answer. There's one more question. This is a slider question. So implementing a food and yard waste service is going to be equivalent to removing this number of cars off the road each year. Doesn't tell us how many got it. Oh, 0 got that right. Okay, there we go. So BB is at the top. And there's one last question, true or false. 63% of the food waste in Regina is avoidable. Meaning it didn't need to be thrown out. We overpurchased, let it rot. That is true. which is one of the reasons we did a waste reduction campaign.
Ate what they took, ate what they ordered.
So at the top of is the lane B. Who want to stand up? Derek up there. And then next is Connor. There's Connor. Okay, you want another one? You can give it away to somebody. Oh, and BB. Oh, never mind. Should have known that. Okay, I'm gonna shut this down. And that's all the presentation we have, and I guess there's time for questions.